This is Snakes and Otters, a pointless discussion of eternal questions. Get ready. We're about to live in your head rent free.
Good morrow, Otterites. I am Martin.
And I'm Robert.
And I'm Brother Andre.
So we are reassembled here at Studio M. Really enjoying ourselves today.
That's right.
And
refilled the bourbon glasses.
Yeah. Again, the Imperator and Francis are getting significant cybernetic upgrades. They're going to be better, stronger, faster than they were before.
Well, I mean, that's a low bar.
For the Imperator especially. But for Francis, you know.
He's not exactly a fast mover.
No, he was never an athlete. And you know, none of us really were. And he leaned into it quite a bit.
Yeah.
So they're not with us. And again, the Pirate King, Queen Cajun, and Mrs. Cajun are invading South Carolina, looking to establish a beachhead for the Brotherhood there, much like the Vikings at Lindisfarne Abbey. So you can look that up, listeners, if you want to know more about that.
If you don't already know.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Our listeners should know. They should know these references, shouldn't they, Robert? Yes. Oh, jeez.
It's nice that we don't take ourselves seriously.
Yeah, like anybody knows what the hell we're talking about.
Even our listeners, yeah. I mean, you know. I mean, sometimes I hear stuff we say, and I know every one of us is thinking, what the hell did he just talk about?
Lindisfarne.
I mean, there are some things it's like, I know Robert knows what I'm saying, but no, I'm not sure anybody else does.
Right.
So some of it is just for you, my brother.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
I appreciate that. It's kind of like how your butt cheeks fit in the palm of my hand.
I know.
Please.
They still do after
and they still do
30
it.
years.
Visualization hurts.
Yeah, well.
So. Oh, pardon me. So let's get started.
Code of honor.
Let's get this rolling
and,
without as much preamble.
And an OG, sort of OG.
Yes. So I was working on this for a month to figure out what I wanted to do with Code of Honor this time around. And I fell on to Winston Churchill. But I couldn't decide what quote. Now, Churchill, of course, not only was a politician, but was a journalist / writer. So the wealth of things that he has written and said, in addition to all the great speeches, we know him for those World War II speeches, but he wrote extensively about his experiences in Africa and war and Central Asia and war and all these other things that he did. And he was a very insightful observer of human nature as well. And so I couldn't land on anything. So I had the idea of, hey, how about we go kind of old school and everybody in the group has to pick one like we used to do back in the day when it was just the OG style. But instead of whatever source they wanted, it's Winston Churchill. So I printed off about a page and a half of outstanding Winston Churchill quotes on various subjects. And what we're going to do is I'm going to call upon the guys to pick one from these pages. And why did you pick it? What does it mean? Talk about it with us. And then I'll pick one, and then I guess we'll let Robert go last.
Absolutely.
To hammer something together. So I want Brother Andre to go first, and I want to give him lots of leeway because, as Robert rightfully observes, I think sometimes we give Brother Andre the short shank of the hook here, and we want to draw him out a little bit and let him pick one out. Why you picked that one out? What it means? Why was it appealing to you?
After looking through these quotes, there are several that appeased me, but the one that enticed me, that I went back and I read over and over again, was the following quote: "When there is no enemy within, the enemies outside cannot hurt you." And you know that I think this is like a scripture that we talk about. Has a double meaning. It has one, you can read prima facie,
Ooh, Latin.
Of course. And the initial read was, you know, the only enemy that you need to worry about is yourself. But then there's also things that go a little deeper, that have deeper meaning when you look into them, that build on that idea. The only person that can defeat you is yourself. If you have faith in yourself, if you have belief that you can accomplish a goal, a mission, then nothing can stop you. What do you all any feedback on that?
Well, if I have the absolute utmost faith that I'm going to be the starting center for the Detroit Pistons next year, I am pretty sure I am not that if I were to adopt that, I still am not going to be able to do that. So I think there is some reasonableness to your, to whatever you choose to adopt. But yes, other than that, I do agree, because there are certain things that are just not physically possible for me anymore. Now, 5 years ago, I'd have been all over that.
Well, let's take that. Let's take that a step forward. Let's say that you get the mindset you want to be the starting center for the Detroit basketball team, and you start working hard. You start, every morning you're doing your exercises, you're doing your jogging, whether you're practicing basketball 8 hours a day, you're eating the right nutrition, you're lifting weights. Has your life improved?
Oh, well, no, because I probably would fall over from a heart attack at that point. But I get what you're saying. I'm just saying that it is possible for us to believe in something that is impossible, is all I would point out. But why
I think the brother Andre does have a point, though, that belief could drive you still to improve
one of my favorite
lots of things about yourself.
Yeah, my favorite quote is success is a journey. It's not a destination. The actual quote I'm thinking of is the road to success is always under construction. I think I've mentioned that Brother Maximus up in Michigan, we came across this little plastic plaque one time in a store that had that on. I used to I had that for years. I don't know what happened to it, but he thought it was so very negative. And it was, no, it's just a reminder. You got to keep working at it.
Yeah,
it's not there is no single destination.
Yeah,
if you ever
rock band that sells 1 million records still has to make a next record.
Yep.
You have to keep going. You have to reinvent. You have to be creative and always revisit, or otherwise you're that famous one-hit wonder.
Although if it's enough of a hit, maybe you don't need to sell another records.
Well, you end up playing the state fairs and the cruise circuit instead of arenas. I'm not super fan of her music, but I mean, this is like Lady Gaga is the centerpiece of reinvent yourself every time, do something new, challenge yourself to be beyond what you were the last record, that kind of thing.
Actually, I would give you a better example. That again, this is a Gen X example that we would relate to more. But I think a better example of that is Linda Ronstadt.
Yeah,
she hopped genres like it was nothing.
Yep.
And I'm going to go back to the quote: "You are the only person that can defeat your dreams." I think that it surmises the quote: "When there is no enemy within, the enemies outside cannot hurt you."
It reminds me of Lincoln, which I'm
you're going to have to work.
Fairly certain that Churchill's thinking about Lincoln, but Lincoln was saying we can't be beaten by a foreign enemy. We'll only be beaten if we destroy ourselves. Yeah. That was something that he said leading up to the Civil War. A foreign enemy is not ever going to conquer this nation, but we can destroy ourselves.
And we work so hard at it.
Back to the national motto: "United we stand, and divided we fall."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was. I'm sure he's channeling some Lincoln with that quote. As
wisdom.
If we're united, we can win. We can get through the other side of this challenge, this trial that's coming our way.
Well, I'll take this farther since Brother Andre brought scripture into it. I'll even take this a little bit deeper into that. When in the Gospels, I'm Catholic, so I can't give you chapter and verse.
Tell us the story. We know the stories.
Jesus is talking about only what comes out of you can defile you. Nothing that you take in you can defile you, right? Meaning that he was talking about for the Jews that would have been listening, they would have immediately thought, dietary laws and things
Milk
like
and
that.
meat and
Can't eat pork. So to me, that Jesus, that was basically putting a stamp of approval on bacon right there.
amen.
Amen. But what he was really talking about, though, was that your circumstances don't make you a sinner. Your circumstances or the things that happen to you don't make you unclean in the spiritual sense. Now, obviously, you fall into a pile of mud. Yes, you are unclean, but that's not what he's talking about. It's like when he talks about how if you look at a woman with lust in your heart, it's the same as having committed adultery with her. All right. In that you have already committed the act in your head, so you're guilty. Now, obviously, it's a different kind of guilt because you've not actually physically defiled someone, but you have defiled her in your mind because you have objectified her. Right?
You have defiled yourself.
Well, yes, that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
I'm getting there.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I have not yet begun to defile myself.
Yes.
Hold that thought.
No, that's a good quote from Tombstone.
First movie I turned on the new entertainment
Was Tombstone?
Was Tombstone.
Awesome.
I'll
Awesome.
be your Huckleberry.
So the whole idea, though, that our, if you will, holiness, our ability to be one with, however you choose to put it, whether ourself, our God, our the people around us, nature, whatever ephemeral BS however you want to put it, but our ability to relate to be one with others, to be united with others, is entirely a function of our internal self. As Pogo said, we have met the enemy and he is us.
Mm-hmm.
And again, millennials and Gen Zers, not that we have a whole lot of those listeners, maybe some early millennials, but certainly not a whole lot of Gen Zers listening to us. But we would get that reference, although it's more of a boomer reference, but we would still get it. We have met the enemy and he is us. Actually, I think Reagan used that.
Yeah, I believe he did.
Yeah.
Was Reagan a boomer or was he a greatest generation?
He was born in 1912, so whatever generation
11.
that is.
I thought it was 11.
Okay, 11. I was off by a year. That's
A
pretty
year,
good.
yeah. February 6th.
It's February 6th. Yep.
1911. So that would, I believe, makes him a greatest. Certainly not a, boomers are 45 beyond.
Yeah. Well, between so there's greatest generation, silent generation, and whatever comes before that. I mean, but he would have been.
It's not as cut
he would have been 30 when.
Yeah, demographic. Our obsession with demographics really starts more with the boomers. So
it does, yeah. Well, it's because the boomers are boomers. They're very self-centered.
Well, they used up all the damn free love before we could get any.
I know. Yeah, all the Gen Zers, they're complaining about all the wealth they're squandering and hoarding. And it's like, screw that.
Just wait.
The free love. It wasn't free when we got there.
We had to pay for it. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, you always pay for it.
It's like, guys, you paid $32 to get fast food delivered to your house.
Right.
Don't talk to me about money's not available.
Yeah. $10 avocado toast that you just had.
Yeah, I mean, you ordered, a salad and a sandwich. We used to get that for $5 when we went somewhere.
Yeah.
And you paid $30 because you had it delivered and you tipped. It's like, well, I don't want to hear like you don't have any money for things.
Well,
You paid $9 for some kind of coffee thing that was mostly ice cream. I don't want to.
or oat milk.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Why don't you just throw in there? Get off my damn grass.
Oh yeah.
You
Yeah.
sound like a curmudgeon.
I told you that's,
Again. Yeah. My picture's in the dictionary next to that word.
Yeah, his whole biography is in the encyclopedia under curmudgeons. So,
Okay.
you know, there's
In
Martin has that covered.
there's a value in self-awareness.
Yes, and you are.
You gotta embrace who you are.
Yep. You know,
All right. So I've got to make Robert go
even
last.
Even Martin is too much for himself, right? You know, it's
Yeah.
too much people.
It's too much people. It's too much people. Sometimes more than 3 of us is too much people.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, especially when the Imperator kind of counts as 2 anyway.
Well, he does have 2 people. He has a liver from somebody
Someone
else.
else.
There's
Yeah.
2 of 'em.
Yeah. So
He's a symbiotic relationship.
The Imperator he's a lot of work.
he's a
I
lot
mean,
of
we're
work.
all a lot of work, but
He's
I
a
mean,
lot of work.
the Imperator is a lot of work, and individually, one-on-one, he's less work.
Yeah.
And I'd say that's probably true for most people.
He
But-
has to impress us with how outlandish he is.
Yes,
So we love him for that.
yes.
But-
I wish he would remember that he doesn't have to perform for us all the time, though.
But,
That's all.
But I would like to take a
Performance,
small
yes.
break here in the action. I just received a message from him, and seems like one of his
I saw that.
one of his bionic implants is not going well. So let's just all take a moment and wish the best for him, and that his healing goes quickly. He's a member of the Brotherhood, well loved, and while slightly different than the majority of the Brotherhood, is definitely a part of our crew, and we wish him the best.
Ooh.
I have known
Ugh.
the Imperator longer than anybody except Maximus and Martin.
Yeah.
So yeah, he is. He's always been the Imperator.
Yep.
Let's just put it that way. He's always been the Imperator.
To get us back on task, my intention is that from the Winston Churchill quote that I cited is that you are the only one that can stop your dreams.
You okay there, Martin?
Yes.
Getting all choked up?
Choked up on a hairball.
Little bourbon spilkus. We've discussed this generally as well, because Francis and I know we're kind of simpatico on the idea of, well, your dream has to be at least somewhat within the scope of your abilities.
I like for the dream to be just beyond the edge of your current scope.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
way you have to grow to achieve your dreams.
Yeah.
There was a famous quote. I think it's attributed to Henry Ford, but I could be wrong. That you should shoot for the moon, because even if you fall short, you'll be among the stars.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is bad cosmology. But I get what he was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that takes it to me, because we want Robert to go last and hammer.
Yes.
And I'm still struggling to pick a favorite amongst these.
There's some really good quotes here.
This is good stuff. Again, Churchill, I think we're probably the last generation to really appreciate him. I mean, I think everybody after us, he's so remote. He's so far gone.
I can see that because, our parent, or at least my parents, lived in a time, well, yours too, certainly Francis's, because his
Yes.
dad the same age as mine, lived in a time where he was not a contemporary, but he was in his position
Yeah.
during their lifetime. So they have,
Yeah. I mean, my parents would have been kids during his last premiership.
mine born in 34 and 35. So, they would have been basically 10 by the time the end of the war comes along.
Yeah.
So
So
they're
they're
not going to be
young-
super aware of him.
Yeah,
most
they're going to be
likely.
young adults during that
Yeah,
last premiership.
exactly. So,
But they would have heard about.
most likely. I mean, in Eastern Kentucky, who knows?
Yeah, he's so
Um,
close that newsreels and
Right.
things. He's so approximate.
Yeah, even a
to
kid
their
under 10
life.
is gonna
Yeah.
know that. So, um, But on the other hand, you know, um, you know, I'm the youngest of parents from so there's a huge really that's a pretty for my parents, me, we will hopefully hit 100 years in time between their birth before I die. So which is pretty long. That's not necessarily uncommon, but I came later in their lives. Is my point.
Yeah. So I mean,
but
Churchill's again.
He's not a
someone
contemporary of us, but he's around enough that he still held an undue influence on.
Yeah, he would have been. Again, he's someone who's recognizing the emergence of the Cold War tensions early on. He's blending old school European diplomacy with the new nuclear reality during his premiership, his last one. So he's fascinating, unique individual. And again, we talked about this last episode of or pre-episode of this, the dignity of these elected leaders and what kind of image they project. And he was a master at projecting an image. Not that far different from our current president. A different tone, a different tenor.
You are comparing Winston Churchill to Mr. Donald Trump?
The skill that each has in projecting an image.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yes, their temperaments are different, but as a showman, they have a lot in common. He showed up in Africa with a pith helmet to meet with the 8th Army. He's 65 years old, and when he is reviewing troops on the coast after the pulling people back from Dunkirk, and he's hopping over stone walls. It's like, he's projecting a certain image.
65 back then was like 85 today.
Oh, I mean, he was old, he was overweight, and he liked he spent most of the day in a dressing gown, champagne for lunch.
Gin.
Yeah. Oh, cigars, the whole bit.
He knew how to live life.
So there's a certain projection that he's putting out. So it was a thing, but he is really something. He is a person that really does need to be studied.
I think he was less performative than our current president, though.
Yeah, but not by a lot.
Well, what I mean by that is all of the extravagance and the quirkiness that you see in Churchill, I think was more legitimately him than what you see in the current president. Sure. Everything is geared towards projecting whatever an image he thinks he needs to project or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know that there is who the true Donald Trump really is, because I think that's been lost to time and performance. I don't know that there really is a true him anymore.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can argue that. His affinity for fast food, I think, is a little bit of both.
Yeah, was it Diet Coke, I think, is his drink of choice?
Yeah, Diet Coke and McDonald's. It's a little bit performative in he thinks that's a way to relate to regular people. But at the same time, it's so much American that it is really him too.
Could be.
Certainly
the drink is, but yeah.
Yeah, certainly, honestly, to be someone who doesn't drink a diet soft drink is to be an outlier in America.
Just about, yeah.
It is the thing that people do. They drink diet drinks and they eat fast food. That's what we do. That's who we are.
Yeah, because the extra 200 calories from having a regular Coke would have put you over the edge to go with that.
Yeah, it's like I have a
Big Mac.
I have a Big Mac and a Twinkie and a Tab.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God, Tab. but I think
nice Gen X reference there. I love it.
But I think Churchill was the master of farce. Half of the things he said, he meant it. They were jokes, and he.
Well, that's what I say. I'm sure he was influenced by somebody like Chesterton, because a lot of his great quotes are very Chestertonian.
Yeah.
In that sense,
Yeah.
but it's also a British way of expressing
It is
irony
it,
and humor.
he is. He's again a very duality person. Of is this really him, or is this a performance for Parliament, people, whatever? Is it a performance for the radio? Certainly, the famous speeches are geared at the British people, but also the
But
French.
I think they come from a genuine place.
Genuine place. So it is. He's a unique dual person that understands both of those things. That he can be genuine and also performative at the same time.
Yeah, I think the performative for somebody like him, and this is true for Reagan as well, is the delivery, not the substance of the speech.
I think you're very insightful there, bringing up Reagan, because it is
The great communicator.
people accused him of being a performance because of his acting background, and they didn't think he was real.
Right, but
And
he
was
believed
very
what
real.
he said.
He was very real.
Yes.
If you want to read about, listeners, if you want to read about just how real Reagan was, I just finished a book called The Crusader by Paul Kengor, Kengor. Probably not pronouncing that correctly. 2 bourbons in. It's excellent. It's excellent.
The bourbon or the book?
Both.
Okay.
This perception that Reagan was this sort of naive simpleton who had this faith in all these old unrealistic patriotism virtues. No, he was very much a realist.
Yeah.
And very much knew exactly what he was doing. And when you read this book, The Crusader, you understand he definitely understood a dynamic in the world in a different manner than the politicians who came before.
Mm-hmm.
And his policy actions, real, concrete policy actions, were him, not some shadow advisor, not,
That's right, because if you look at his speeches before being elected, before running for president, between like 76 and 80, when it's just him, right? There's no organization that is keeping him on message like there is now. In between elections, there's still a campaign, even if it's a shadow campaign. Everything is still going on. Back in that time, that kind of stuff didn't exist.
Yeah, Kengor documents that he's saying the same things in the 50s.
Yep.
As an actor.
Yep.
That he said in the 60s as governor of California, that he would then say on the radio, and then that he would enact as president in the 80s.
Which is why he said, I think it was him, it certainly may not have been him originally, but he's one of the ones that often said that the Democratic Party didn't leave the Democratic Party, it left him.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of understand exactly what he means today.
Yeah. Don't fall for this popular media lie that Reagan was an empty vessel, that advisors put words in his mouth, things like that.
Sure. Did he write every single one of his speeches? No. That does not mean he was a puppet.
But
no president writes all of his speeches.
Exactly.
No, he brought people in and molded them to his vision.
Not unlike Lincoln, Team of Rivals.
Yes.
Where he brings in all the people that
yeah.
The best at what they did.
It's very similar.
But they were opposed to him in many ways, but he melded them into a team.
Yeah.
Get good people.
People that he brought in. I mean, some of them thought, yeah, I'm going to join this administration, but I'm smarter than this guy. And they got surprised at the depth of his thinking and came around to believing in him, much like some of the early people that were on board with Lincoln in the 50s and 60s. So The Crusader, awesome book. So there's a plug for Paul Kengor and his book.
You should do a Martin Monday post on that.
Well, I'll have to drink first.
Well, yeah.
That's what Sundays are for.
So I guess I should.
Well, Monday's a holiday anyway, so
I
That's
should
true.
shut up about that and actually pick a Winston Churchill quote again.
that's right. You have not even picked the quote.
I have
yet.
not even picked a quote because I'm struggling. So many of these are awesome.
We'll just pick one.
And we're
All right.
30 minutes in.
Yes. So here we go. I'll pick this one. Socialism is a philosophy of failure, the creed of ignorance, and the gospel of envy. Its inherent virtue is the equal sharing of misery. So those quotes, pieces of that have been repeated by everybody from Harry Truman and Reagan to Margaret Thatcher. I think she used gospel of envy in her speeches and things as well. Equal sharing of misery is something Reagan quoted as well from Churchill. So yeah, I mean that one's very much a direct political statement, but it's so true. It's so accurate. It's so real.
It's so accurate, so real. But the one thing is, there's nothing to discuss. It's truth. How do you argue with the truth?
Well, but
People do it all the time,
Convince somebody who's 22 years old of the truth of that statement.
right? I call him the kid, but again, he's in his early 30s now. Back in around the 2016 election, he literally made the statement about how, because he was talking about, socialism has failed everywhere it's been tried. And he basically spouted the most stereotypical line. Well, it just hasn't been done right yet. And it's like, I don't even know how to
Right.
counter you, because I would never have said this to him, but this is in my head. I was like, that's the stupidest thing that you could have ever said about socialism as a political theory.
'Cause, I mean, it's back.
Yeah, it is.
It's
yeah.
back. The quote democratic socialism is back.
Socialism is a great idea. It would,
Well, the outcome that it strives for is a good idea.
yes, but the problem is human beings are involved, and it will always be skewed, and some of us will be more equal than others.
Well, yeah, and like I said, that's why I say the outcome is because it's the methods to get there is always the problem. Because ideally, capitalism, a market, well, I prefer market economy because I go with the John Paul II explanation of because he talks about, what's the encyclical? Do you remember the name? Because I'm horrible with the name on that.
No.
But he's talking about when he's doing his own encyclical on Catholic social teaching, and he's talking about, well, for one, he's talking about, yes, socialism is bad. We don't go there, and capitalism has its problems. But now, if you mean by capitalism, basically what it amounts to is a laissez-faire approach to the economy,
Bad.
that is bad. If by capitalism you mean a market economy bolstered by laws and blah 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 and all this, it's like, then that is good. And that's part of the problem that, as I've discussed with my pastor, I've said, keep reminding him, because he keeps going on and on about capitalism. It's like, you're arguing
Laissez-faire.
the philosophical point, not the practical. And part of the practical is people, everyday people, think that the market economy is capitalism. And it's not exactly the same. And because there's always been all economies are a market economy for the most part. Even socialism has a market economy aspect to it.
I mean, people have won Nobel Prizes in economics for arguing that everything is an economy or a market in some fashion.
Exactly.
Politics is a market. It's just you're not trying to get money, you're trying to get power.
Which gets you the money, but yes. But, so.
But power is more intoxicating even than money.
Yes.
Because with power, you don't even need the money.
Yes.
If I have the power, people defer to me and give me things that normally would cost me money to do.
And that's the thing about socialism, to bring us back on track, that is part of its problem, is that it is no different. And this is one of the reasons why the church will say that capitalism and socialism are basically two sides of the same coin. It is concentrating the wealth in the hands of a small group of people,
Yeah.
whether that be the state or the unregulated individuals that basically are inhumane to their fellow man in pursuit of wealth.
Yeah.
And the irony of it is that both sides look at the other side as evil when they're doing essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
One, there's no laws to prevent them. Others, there are laws to enable them.
Yeah.
Which is how you get to, as he puts it, my pastor, not only he goes with the two sides of the same coin argument that, laissez-faire capitalism leads to socialism because you have, because I argue that the only true laissez-faire capitalism is a black market.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, to have a real, actual market that functions takes a shit ton of laws.
It does. Because there is no such thing as a level playing field. There never will be.
Yes, there is.
I mean,
no, there's not.
What a willing buyer will pay from a willing seller is the definition of an equal.
That's no, I disagree, because that implies that both have same needs, wants, abilities, and resources.
Yeah, because even the underlying piece of that transaction is still an expectation that the law will enforce the conditions of that transaction. And that's what really makes capitalism work, is there's an expectation that if you and I agree to a transaction, then there is a mechanism within law that would give us enforcement of that if one of us breached it. And that's what people don't get about that. Even when we say laissez-faire capitalism, there's still a shit ton of laws and a shit ton of enforcement even there.
Well, and to the pastor's point is that laissez-faire capital, which again is like there's never been.
It doesn't exist.
Never has existed outside of a black market. Is that big government leads to big business rather leads to big government, which is absolutely true.
Yeah,
because they want laws written
they favor them
to favor them and to prevent somebody from coming out of nowhere and upending the whole economy.
Right. Again, why is Amazon so amazing? Not just because we can get everything off of it, but it was a huge, huge disruptor of the status quo economy of the time. And if you have socialism, it doesn't exist because the law would have prevented someone from being so disruptive of the economy. One of my favorite author is, of course, Arthur Herman. We've discussed Arthur Herman many times on the show. His newest book, which I have not purchased yet, but I do plan to, I promised Professor Herman I will buy it, is all about people who were disruptive of the status quo. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's I forget the title, but I mean, you go on Amazon, you look up Arthur Herman.
Are these historical disruptions, economic disruptions, all kinds?
A little of both.
Because
a little bit of it, from Adam Smith to Donald Trump. I mean,
I was going to say, founding fathers are really big disruptors of the status quo.
Exactly, and that's his thesis of this idea of, we don't move forward without a disruptor, and if you set a structure that limits disruption because of the dislocations, which is socialism's goal, is to limit the disruptions.
To be fair, though,
you never move forward. Nothing gets better, and you are stuck in this one spot.
To be fair, though, that's still true of capitalism. Capitalism.
It's absolutely true of like a big business crony capitalism.
Well, again, that's where I go back to. There's a difference between
where they search for protection against disruption.
But there's a difference between.
You're absolutely right.
Capitalism and that market economy.
Yeah.
A market economy relies on disruption.
Yeah. That's how we get cheaper prices.
Exactly. Whereas the the capitalism as, and again, that's like, there's never really been true communism either.
Nope.
You know, but there's never really been a true capitalism as we philosophically define it. So big business capitalism is what we have. All of us, what we really want is a market economy.
What we want is Amazon.
Well,
and
I don't know
what
about
we
that.
what we get,
No, because I see Amazon as no different than because I mean it's a big business.
it's a big business now, but it you know what we end up getting a lot of times is, oh no, you can't make that selection in the marketplace because of X. But
Can you give me an example?
Yeah,
of what you mean?
Be more.
If you can, if you can't, that's fine.
well, I mean, a big slug of Basil Hayden later, I might not be able to because I might be talking out of my ass here.
as
That's what
differently
people-
from how?
That's why people tune in.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm struggling with this a bigger explanation, but
Well, I mean, so just as an
what
example,
we want is to be able to go into the marketplace and get something that we desire or need for a reasonable price.
yes,
And often what we get is an overregulated market that enforces higher prices than we would like to pay.
I think there's
The-
truth to that. But
the-
on the other hand, a lot of what we think are high prices really aren't. For one thing,
as an absolute measure, prices are down like by magnitudes from where they were. We think of $4 gas is expensive, and it is, but as a measure of the cost of energy as a whole,
$4 gas
it's a lot. It's a hell of a lot cheaper than energy generation was in 1850.
right. Well, and adjusted for inflation, that $4 gas, when we first had $4 gas, what, 10, 15 years ago, whenever that was, I don't remember
Yeah.
exactly anymore, would be more like $6 gas now. So yes, we're still not even back to where that was, but because we are better at doing things, bread is cheaper.
Yes.
I was about to say beef is cheaper, but that's not true anymore.
Oh, you haven't bought steaks recently.
I can't afford steaks. I work for a living. But still, when you think about the actual cost of things relative to a different time, yeah, things are way, way cheaper. And that is mostly because of those large businesses. This is one of the things that is, it's a catch-22. A small company almost always is going to cost more to produce products.
Yeah.
Because of economies of scale.
I mean, we don't like it that mom and pop groceries have disappeared.
But we can't afford to shop at them.
Yeah.
Now, partially that's because wages have not kept up with that same thing. So
But
productivity,
at the same time, their purchasing power is not the same as Walmart's purchasing power.
yes, right. That's what I'm saying, though. But which is true. But it is also true that relative to everything else, our wages have not.
They have not. They have not.
Kept up with
To
inflation.
me, that is the single most important structural issue with the economy is middle class wages.
Yes.
And
Because if the middle class is smaller, by definition, that means one or both of the two ends on opposite of the middle class are larger.
yes,
And while they may be larger, one may be larger in number, other in quantity, which is probably both true.
Yeah.
Neither of which situation is a good thing.
Yeah.
Because honestly, that's when revolutions happen.
yeah, and
Let them eat cake.
the cause is of course the source of the argument. For
Yes.
me, the cause of a shrinking middle class is government policy. Printing money like it's Kleenex destroys the middle class, which is what we've seen government do. For someone on the left, the destruction of the middle class is corporate greed.
Yes.
I disagree.
One of the things I have never been able to wrap my head around is that, first of all, we've always had poor people. And yes, they've always been too large of a part of any economy. Because that's just the way that is.
Yeah.
Even Jesus said, "You will always have the poor with you." Because by definition, unless we all make the same, somebody's poorer than somebody else. Now, I truly cannot wrap my head around this charge that the billionaires are billionaires because they stole it all from the poor.
No, they just had better ideas than we did.
Well, the reason I have a problem with it is if they're the poor, they didn't have anything to steal.
Exactly.
Now, I'll grant you.
The economy is not a zero sum.
Well, at any given
If
moment or
Yes, it
tiny
is.
time frame,
If
yes.
Jeff Bezos
No,
has,
it's not.
No, it's not. If Jeff Bezos
Not
has a
over
slice
time.
of pizza, that doesn't mean I'm left with the box.
Okay.
Yeah, because the economy.
Jeff Bezos didn't get rich because he stole from me. He got rich because I love his service.
Because
Yes.
he produced a good or service that people wanted to pay for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he did it cheaply. That's the thing.
I mean,
Which is a bad for local mom and pop bookstores.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we've been talking about Amazon. To think about where it started as a place to buy books online.
And he didn't make money for like the first 10 years. The fact that he was able to keep it afloat is astonishing.
Yeah, and to this idea of the signature idea of changing it from a place to buy books to a place to buy anything. I mean, the only thing I don't think I've ever looked up on Amazon is a used car.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I know. It's like we're sitting here talking into products
that we purchased from
that
Amazon.
almost certainly we bought on Amazon. Mic stands, cables. You know, I would have no idea where in this town to buy an XLR cable if Amazon didn't exist.
Right, because Radio Shack went out of business.
So I'm like, I guess I'd have to go
Circuit
to a
City.
music store.
Yeah, you'd have to
You
find
know,
a music store
I
that's
had to
still
find a
open.
music store and I had to call them, hey, do you have a 15-foot braided XLR cable? It was like $8 on Amazon.
Probably would have been $80 locally.
You know, or well, 12 or 15.
Probably, I mean, I
Plus
it would
my
have been
gas
gas and time.
and time. And it's like, oh no, I can take 2 minutes on Amazon, look it up, drop it in the cart, and it'll be here in some
Tomorrow.
cases the same day. Yeah,
Yeah.
tomorrow or the same day.
Yeah.
I realized we were talking about this giant television. I needed an optical audio cable. I realized the one that I had probably isn't long enough because of the arrangement of my deal here.
And it's probably so old it should be replaced now. Anyways, those things are they're not
Optical cables are fragile.
they're very fragile.
So I'm like, oh, before this television gets delivered, I need an optical cable. I would have, I guess I could go to Walmart maybe and get one. But again, that's the drive time, the gas, everything.
You probably could have gotten one at Best Buy.
Wandering through Best Buy or Walmart and finding one. I got it for $8 on Amazon, and it was delivered. It was supposed to be delivered the same day that we ordered it, but they pushed it to the next morning because of the storm that came through.
Mm-hmm.
6 a.m. the next morning, it was here.
You didn't have
$8.
the TV, but you had the optical cable.
I had a 10-foot braided optical cable in one day because of Amazon. That's the magic of the market.
And that's what people pay Jeff Bezos for because he made your life easier.
Exactly.
Yep.
And when you think about it, the dry goods, the precursors to grocery stores, the dry goods store, the local butchers, all of those were disruptions at one time.
Yeah.
Because at one time it would have been novel to sell your produce and your meat to somebody that would, now granted that's not entirely once you start getting into cities or beyond a certain
Yep.
level. I mean, we're talking ancient times for things like a butcher, but a dry goods store where things are packaged up and sold.
Yeah. I mean,
That's a huge disruptor.
that's what you're really paying Kroger for. You're not paying Kroger for meat and produce and bread and package. You're paying Kroger for
The
the
market.
work they did to gather all of that stuff up under one roof in a clean, inviting environment.
Yes. Yes.
So-
Yeah, absolutely. Because they didn't make a damn thing, other than the meat that the local butchers cut. But it was still. It's not like there's a cow back there. A lot of that was pre-cut into smaller chunks that they can then
Now,
slice
Yeah,
and
remember,
dice.
used to have butchers back there, but
Well, a lot of them still do.
My
I mean,
dad was one.
That's right.
He
Your
was
dad
a
was one. Yeah.
Kroger meat cutter for 40
but to
years.
get back to the thing, socialism, bad.
Socialism sucks. But it sucks. But the part of the problem is that, as far as not with socialism or even with capitalism, kind of goes, and this is not me hammering, but it sort of is. Kind of goes back to your quote, Brother Andre, in that we are the enemy ourselves. And the fact that none of the people beyond a certain small group, I mean, you've got to be fairly intellectual to be able to make these kinds of distinctions is part of
Yes.
the problem. And everything is a soundbite. It's a slogan.
Yes.
And that is
Uh,
my biggest problem with
yes.
modern society.
Yes.
And why
yes,
we
yes.
can't, why society, even though we've got, for the most part, the same damn problems we had when we were 10. You know? I mean, other than the fact that we don't worry about nuclear war anymore.
If it can't be distilled to a tweet or a 30-second TikTok video, it's beyond the grasp of so many people.
Right. And that's even true for people that, our generation. Not all of us still have that same sensibility because many of us have still succumbed to the zeitgeist of the time. Sorry, hold on.
Well,
Word boner.
We haven't done a word boner in so long.
Yep. Here, I'll give you another because we kind of talked over it.
Word boner.
There we go.
Should I say hubris just so we have another one?
Word boner.
The pressure's on me to come up with a good word.
It is, yes. Hubris is one of our favorite.
Our favorite zeitgeist and hubris are both.
They're like OG word boners.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. All right, so good.
What was
good,
the other
good.
one? No, there is a third one. Not hubris, but
Totalitarianism.
no, there's another one that it's similar vein.
It's a Francis one too, right? Teleological
Maybe the teleological, maybe yeah.
or
yeah. Eschatological, yeah.
Yes. So we love
Uh,
those too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, I'm going to take over as captain again. I've been abrogating.
Assert your authority.
Yeah, I've been abrogating my duties as captain. Well, there's another one.
Authority. Yeah. Oh, abrogating.
Abrogating.
Word boner.
Yeah, there we go.
So
Making up for lost time there.
all right, so let's take a bourbon break because I think I've forgotten what I even poured myself.
Bourbon break.
Because we've done 2 quotes.
Yes.
So it's time to bourbon break.
And I got to figure out what I'm
and,
going to say.
and for Robert to figure out what he's going to pick and then hammer it all together. So, Brother Andre, again, you're first. What did we pour for you?
Knob Creek, 15-year-old,
12-year-old.
12-year-old.
12-year-old. Knob Creek, 12-year-old. I'm anxious to hear your analysis.
To sum it up into in the current vernacular, yummy. Very good. I'm enjoying this one.
It's fairly stout. I mean, it's
When I took my first
It's in
initial
there.
sip, I was bracing for a bite because it hit the tongue hard, but it didn't have the burn or the bite. It just had a tremendous amount of baking spice flavors in it, oakiness. I almost picked up some
Ooh.
pine.
baking spice. Baking
That
spice.
oakiness, I think a lot of people often mistake for a harsh bite, because especially when you've got a heavy char or you've got something that's been aged enough to where the char has really affected the flavor. I think that's what people mistake it for, because sometimes that can be kind of harsh. But
It's-
that 12
it's-
years is
it's
good stuff.
Rich and bold and kind of there and
It
yeah.
is. In the front of the tongue, on the initial taste, it had a heaviness and what I thought was going to be a bite. And then as it moved back on the tongue, as it finished on the back of the tongue, I got like a piney, resiny type of
Well, that's
flavor.
interesting.
So a
Fascinating.
lot of wood notes.
Good,
Mm.
good, awesome.
I'm enjoying it. This is third bourbon of the day, so it's going down a little slower.
You'd think he would be far more loquacious than he has been after 3 bourbons.
Ooh.
Word boner.
Give me time. I might be dropping knowledge on you by the end of this episode.
There you go. There you go.
Let me tell you something that you don't know. I'm pretty much there. Yeah,
Oh.
mine's empty. So
That's the great thing about being the host.
Yeah, you
is
can
you can
drink, all
drink
you
whatever
want.
you want. Yeah.
yeah.
You know,
yeah.
you could drink, Booker's all day at 130 proof, and you don't have to worry about it.
Robert, now? Oh, yes. What we poured you?
So this was the wild turkey, the 101, the base wild
No,
turkey.
no, not even 101.
It wasn't the 101. Oh, okay.
This is regular.
Oh, this is the.
proof.
Oh, okay. Oh,
This
oh.
86 proof regular wild turkey.
So this is the.
$18 a bottle.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't get much more basic than a wild turkey.
So,
Or the kicking
but-
chicken, as I like to say.
The what?
The kicking chicken.
Kicking chicken. I like that. It's, there are so many bourbons out there that so many people will look down on because of the price. And you get anything under $30, and a lot of people look down on those bourbons.
Most of them
it's
suck.
that's a huge.
Oh, I don't think so. Now granted, maybe we just don't. Anything under 10, yeah, you could probably say that.
It's called
Like,
rubbing
You know,
alcohol.
if you get to the ancient age level of things, you're probably an alcoholic, is all I'm saying. But the basic Four Roses is like a $20 bottle of bourbon.
Oh yeah.
That's a good
Yeah.
bourbon.
And it's a good bourbon. Never mind even the single barrel and the other ones that
Evan
are higher.
Williams.
Evan Williams.
$20 bottle. It's Cajun's go-to.
Yeah.
$20 a bottle.
I just finished my I think I finished the Evan Williams. Yeah, I did. I finished the Evan Williams I had, and because I've been going through my stock, getting rid of the bottles that are down real low. As a matter of fact, I opened up my first new bottle. The Faithfully Crafted aside, because we opened that up the last time we recorded at my
Heresy
place.
bourbon.
The Heresy bourbon, yes. But the first new one in a while. I thought I had already opened it up, and I pulled it out of the off the shelf last night, thinking it was already open. I was like, "Oh, this isn't open." Well, I've already got it in my hand. I'll go ahead and open it because I'm trying not to open up new ones too often because I just have so many that are open. I don't mind if you guys come and open up bottles. That's fine. That's what it's on the shelves for.
Exactly.
To be drunk. And like I always say, if something is not open, especially if it's a higher price bourbon, I always ask, and that's all I ask of you guys. If it's not on the drinking shelf, ask because I might be open to opening it. But anyways, there's a lot of bourbons that are in that $18 to $25 range that are really, really good, and this Wild Turkey
Yep.
is one of them. I think the 101, because it's a higher proof, you think you get the little bit flavor that lasts a little bit longer. But this 86 was great. It's almost like an old friend. It's not one that I drank a lot, but an old friend in the sense that it's solid, it's good flavor, it's consistent. You get that hint of pear that I really, really
I love.
love.
It's the first bourbon where I tasted what they said I was supposed to taste.
Yep, we were at Francis's game room when
Where
we
the-
had this.
Where they
the first
said
time.
you're supposed to taste pear and vanilla.
Yeah, something like
It's
that.
like
yeah.
I taste pear.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
And to pick out a specific piece of fruit like that is really impressive because a lot of times you'll see stuff say there's a hint of citrus. Okay, there's a lot of different kinds of citrus. Can
there's
you
a
be
lot of
more
citrus,
specific?
yeah.
But pear has a very unique flavor, and the fact that you can pick that out, to me,
Yeah.
is just so good.
Mm.
It's solid. With the big ice ball, because I like to play with Martin's balls. His ice balls. His
He likes
ice,
it too.
his ice made in a spherical shape is what I mean.
Got big balls.
He does. That's a lot of ice to melt to water it down. So but it didn't disappear like the Blantons did. There was still flavor,
Yeah,
even though it was watered
good.
down, that I could taste, and it's enjoyable. This is another one that, because it is a relatively mild bourbon, I think you could do just as fine neat.
Yeah, if you are out there, listeners, and thinking about, well, what is this bourbon thing all about? What do I do?
Start.
You must be new
Start-
to the show.
Well, if
But
you're new
yes.
to bourbon, start with Wild Turkey, start with Evan Williams.
Yeah.
Go from there.
Or Four Roses.
Before you go, oh well, I guess the only way to be a real bourbon person is to slap $60 into Woodford Double Oaked. Nope.
No,
Nope.
nothing wrong with going there, but that's probably more bourbon than you should start on.
Start with $20.
Yeah.
Start with Wild Turkey.
No. Start with the Costco stuff that was deplorable.
No,
And then
no.
three
That
up.
that was the
Trader
Trader Joe's.
Trader Joe's, I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although the reworked Trader Joe's is not awful. It's not super high end or anything, but it's
No,
better.
I mean, if
It's
you
drinkable.
walk into a store and you're like, I'm going to spend $18 on bourbon to figure out what this is all about, start with Wild Turkey. You can't go wrong.
Mm-mm.
Enjoy it, and then start your exploration from there.
Yep.
And if you're brand new to bourbon, this is almost heresy on this show. Diet Mountain Dew and bourbon.
I don't know about Diet Mountain Dew, but
It doesn't get any better than that.
the only soft drink that now, because we all used to drink bourbon and Coke, we admit that it's a shameful part of our history, but we admit it because we're all about truth here. But
I feel like
only
that's like Lyndon Johnson going to the bathroom during a cabinet meeting
right, and leaving the door open.
and leaving the door
And
open.
then walking out with toilet paper hanging off of his shoe, I mean, yeah. Anyways, a good ginger ale like a Verner's, depending on the bourbon.
Yeah, I mean,
is-
bourbon and ginger, you can't.
That's a good mix.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a good mix. You
yeah.
can do that.
And the reason I like Verner's is because the ginger is a stronger taste there than in a Canada Dry. I think Canada Dry is very weak.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's yeah.
Plus, you're
But-
from Michigan.
Well, that helps, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you go wrong blending the best of Michigan with the best of Kentucky? Here I am.
So I guess let's see, my turn. What did I? Oh, Basil Hayden.
Oh, that's right. Yes, you poured
Yeah,
the old standby.
Again, yeah. I mean, something we've discussed on the show many, many times.
But it's so much fun to go back to basil.
It is. It's good stuff. It's good. Again, it's probably gone up a little bit of a touch.
Inflation has driven it up.
Yeah. So I mean, it's
Upper 30s,
the
maybe
government
40.
would stop printing money. Damn it! Then this wouldn't be so expensive.
It's like an Italian sports car. You hate it
Yeah.
because fiat.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
boo!
It's one of my libertarian jokes.
That hit the agonizer on that one.
No,
He's not going to agonize himself.
no.
That's the price we pay for letting Robert be in charge of the board.
I mean, I think I might have done agonized myself once or twice, but not for that one. Not for that one.
By fiat. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Martin loves it.
Yeah, stop printing money and Basil Hayden wouldn't be going up. But if you get it for $35, $38,
Yeah. Yeah.
again, it's don't expect like it to knock your socks off with proof because it's only 80 proof. I
80
think.
proof. Yep.
So it's a low proof bourbon, but very flavorful.
And you know what? It's a high rye bourbon, but it does not taste like a high rye bourbon.
No, I don't feel like it's very peppery at all.
No.
So
I was shocked when I found it was a high rye bourbon.
yeah, so it's a little touch sweet, and of course a Beam product. It's
Mhm.
just so well done. One of those first, when they first had this idea of line extensions, we don't have to just make our brand. We can take and tinker and put out these premium.
Well, the Basil Hayden bourbon,
Variations.
it is an old line, but they have certainly extended it more. The Bookers and some of these others were probably more famous
Yeah.
for the line extensions.
But
But
it's,
yes,
yeah, it's the beginnings of the idea of the line extension from the distillery. So, I think it's if you try Wild Turkey and you want to go on to the next thing to try, Knob Creek 9-year-old
Mhm.
and Basil Hayden. would be
1792. I like to recommend.
1792. So when
That's good.
when you want to move up into that $35, $38 bottle, that's the place to start
Yep.
with those.
Surprisingly,
Good.
there are a number of really good bourbons that are in that 35 to 38 range. That 35 to 40 in the 30s. Let's just
Yeah,
say
Yellowstone. is another
Yellowstone.
one.
Long Branch is one you can get in that price range. Not always, but generally. And these are
I personally like Russell Reserve 10-year-old in
Yes.
that price range.
it's usually closer to 40, but yeah.
I think Cajun is the one who doesn't like
He may not.
Russell Reserve at 10-year-old. I like it.
My daughter got me that several years ago. I finished the bottle a long time ago, but it's really good. It's a little bit higher rye too. That's another one that is really good with ginger ale.
Yeah, it's a spicy one.
Yeah.
It's a spicy flavor. I like it.
Yep.
All right.
Good stuff.
Do we have anything else we want to talk about at Bourbon Break here? Did we
I mean, there's
flogged our riding
probably
experience last episode.
there's probably a ton of deaths we need to acknowledge that we have not done so.
Oh, I know.
And I can't think of them off the top of my head, but I know there have been people that have died. That's like, oh, we need to remember
Yeah,
them.
creators that are important to us.
Yeah, we really need to be better about that.
Did we talk about Jerry Conway? I think he was one.
Yeah, he was one. We have not talked about him on the show. Jerry Conway, longtime comic book writer, wrote Spider-Man in the 70s. He wrote Superman quite a bit
Yeah, he's one of those that's been
in both. Yeah.
in both houses.
He is the writer, I believe, although it might have been, I think he was the writer who killed off Gwen Stacy for Spider-Man. I think. That was a very seminal moment in the 70s.
Yep.
I'd have to double check that, but he's definitely one of those guys that had a huge impact on the industry. I want to say he was one of the revolving door editors in chief that Marvel had for a while
Yep.
in the
I
mid
think so.
70s.
I think so.
Which is probably why he ended up leaving Marvel permanently. Was once you're out as editor in chief, you're not really going to stick around very long as a writer.
And sports fans will take note of the very unexpected passing
Yes.
of Kyle Busch,
41.
41 years old.
I mean, I'm not even a race car fan, but I heard that and was like, holy crap.
That's young.
He's one of those. Was a polarizing driver at the time. The phrase "wreckers" or "checkers" was kind of about him. He became kind of one of the elder statesmen, though, of stock car racing.
Which is funny to think at 41, but yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, when I would not have thought he was 41. But then he's junior, isn't he? Or is he or am I thinking of somebody else? Because I know there's several
You're thinking of
juniors and
somebody
seniors.
else.
Okay.
Yeah, you're thinking of somebody else. But his brother, Kurt, was also
Okay.
a racer. But yeah, I mean, he's been involved in stock car racing. Again, 41, but I think he's been a part of the top level series almost 20 years.
That's impressive because that's awfully young to get there.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about going way back. Very famously drove the M&M car.
Yeah.
He recently switched teams and he was not driving that same car anymore. But most of his signature victories, his 2 NASCAR championships, were with that team. I believe that was the Joe Gibbs team in the M&M car. I think it was number 18. But he was one of those guys. If you were on that late race restart, where they have those famous what do they call them? Yellow, green checker finishes in a NASCAR race. He is not the guy you wanted around. Because again, he would do whatever it took to get to the front. And if that meant wrecking everybody else, well, that's what would happen.
Laissez-faire racing.
To a degree. So he was polarizing, but of course, like anything, as you persevere in an endeavor, you become respected, and he was
sometimes
a great champion and I'm not a huge stock car racing fan.
Me either. Yeah.
I'm more of an open wheel racing guy, but yeah, I mean, he was one of those guys that was big enough that even if you weren't a huge fan of the sport, you probably had heard of him.
Yeah.
So it is a huge loss for the series and a huge loss to NASCAR fans.
And on another note of things that we need to be made aware of, there's a private issue within the Brotherhood that if all listeners could just stop and say a little prayer of private intention, it'd be greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
Okay.
Andre, thank you. Yeah, that's wonderful. All right, so I guess we are now ready for Robert.
So,
Make
as
his
is my
decision.
custom, I require you guys to repeat your quotes.
Okay, which one did I pick? All right. Brother Andre, go ahead with the one that you picked.
When there is no enemy within, the enemies outside cannot hurt you.
All right, and mine is socialism is a philosophy of failure, the creed of ignorance, and the gospel of envy. Its inherent virtue is the equal sharing of misery. All right, so lay
So-
upon us your Winston Churchill
So,
nugget.
unlike you guys, I couldn't just pick any quote willy nilly because my job is to pick a quote that I can tie together your quotes into a cohesive whole. And so there were a few here that I think could have had some work with, but I think the only one that really truly fits is the one from the middle of the first page here. Men occasionally stumble over the truth, but most of them pick themselves up and hurry off as if nothing
I'm
had
so
happened.
glad you picked that one.
So, I mean, there's a lot to unpack there because literally every piece has a different point that we could spend hours talking about. So, men occasionally stumble over the truth. Occasionally stumble over it.
Yes,
In other
that's
words,
such an insight into the human condition right into the first clause.
yes, we only occasionally stumble into it. In other words, we're almost never looking for the truth. All right.
Or we've discovered it by accident.
Well,
Wow,
Or
but
even
that,
if,
but that all I
even
think
if
also
we're
implies.
looking, we don't know that we found it.
Yeah, because again, it's occasionally stumble into it. So most of the time we're not truly looking for truth, and usually it's probably an accident when we do find it.
We're probably actively avoiding it
Quite often
in our lives.
But-
Yeah.
Quite
because
often.
the truth most of the times contradicts with our desires.
or with what we want the truth
Or
to be.
yeah.
Yeah. But then most of them pick themselves up and hurry off as if nothing had happened. So most of them pick themselves up. To me, that implication is they just immediately get up and dust themselves off.
They ignore the truth.
In other words, they have no interest in engaging with the truth. They have no interest in laying there and figuring out what the hell just hit me. In other words, I've got better things to do than to figure this out. And then they hurry off as if nothing had happened. In other words, that was too uncomfortable. I'm going to ignore it.
Yep.
So, and that's just a 2-minute summary of I mean, we could spend hours on any one of those sections there. And the reason that I like this is one, I can't argue with a single piece of it. Like much of what Churchill says, it's hard to argue with, but
The truth is the truth.
But truth is truth. Whether you want to call it capital T truth, whatever. Truth, there's no such thing as my truth versus your truth. There's my experience versus your experience.
Yep.
My understanding of my experience of the same situation versus your understanding of your experience of the same situation. That is different than truth.
Yes. The truth
Absolutely
is the truth.
different than truth. And that's why it is so true. This rings so true in itself that we stumble into it, don't want to look at it, and we hurry off before it disrupts, to use a term from Martin's quote, not from his quote, but from the discussion on it, before it disrupts our life too much. Because we are loath as human beings to give up the things that we want to be true, even though we know they might not be true, or absolutely know that they aren't. Sometimes we just like to stick our head in the sand and ignore what's not true. And that's true in every culture, every age, every time, every community. You're just going to see that. Sometimes it's a level of degree, how much we want to ignore the truth. But ideally, we don't. Or at least ideally, we have come to the point in our lives where we can recognize that, okay, I might not be right about this, and be willing to engage it.
It's a propitiation of the human condition.
Oh.
Word boner.
There you go. There's his word boner. Awesome. Excellent. But you're right. Yeah. Now, how I see this relating to you guys. So that whole there's no enemy within, when there is no enemy within, the enemy's outside can hurt you. I would almost say that there are no, and you can make the argument there are no enemies outside, that there are only enemies within. And those enemies within are the ones that make you ignore the truth or just not be looking for it, so that you do stumble into it accidentally. And it's what makes you get up and hurry past it, because you cannot bear to face the truth. It's often painful because the reason we don't want to give up what we want to be true is, I'm not saying that is sinful by its very nature, but it's rooted in our sin nature, in the sense that we put our own desires first. Okay. And because we put our own, and this is a natural thing. The supernatural thing is to put other people's desires first.
Yeah, our own comfort pushes us to put our desires first
Absolutely.
and not be uncomfortable dealing with someone else's
Yep.
perception of or needs
Or reality. Because, I mean,
yeah.
how many people want to deal with the reality of the pain and struggle of being homeless, of being a drug addict and being homeless, or of being a 16-year-old single mom whose dad and mom just kicked him out because she got pregnant? I mean, these are truly things that happen. Maybe not, maybe that 16-year-old doesn't get kicked out like she would have 50 years ago, but that kind of stuff still happens.
Oh, that's still yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying you can make that. Well, maybe it happens more because there are more 16-year-olds that get knocked up than there were 50 years ago. But which, given the prevalence of birth control, just shocks me that even still happens. But whatever. Not that I'm a proponent of birth control. The only kind of birth control I'm a proponent of is not having sex. It's the only guaranteed way. There's only been one exception to that in the history of mankind, and we're pretty sure that was.
It's not going to repeat itself either.
It's a non-repeatable thing. And so we are, when it comes to recognizing the truth, we are our own enemy. And too often we treat the truth as an enemy, one of those outside forces that we think can harm us. And, sometimes that is true.
And we label it.
And we label it as an enemy.
Something that makes it easy to set it aside.
Yep.
We label it as patriarchy, or we label it as hierarchy, or
you can toxic masculinity or femininity or feminism. Feminazis. That's the phrase I was looking for. That
you're talking about. There's this notion now that's coming to the fore of toxic empathy. It's one.
I hadn't heard this one.
It's one thing to be. It's one thing to, to have empathy for someone going through a struggle. It's another to decide what a policy prescription to address that is. To be empathetic with someone going through something doesn't mean that we need to accept the prescription that government can fix it.
So I would have thought toxic empathy would have gone a different direction, but okay.
Well, there's a lot of pieces to it.
I only say that because
right.
I think of it the kind of people would call any masculinity toxic, but that generally comes from a leftist approach. So I was thinking the same kind of thing. So what?
Yes,
now,
it is.
Now being empathetic is some kind of emotional colonialism. I mean, No,
I mean you're right. You were right the first time. It's this leftist idea of, oh, I feel bad for your situation, therefore
I'm good.
I'm going to right. Part of it is,
well, there's that. Yeah.
I'm wonderful for sympathizing with you, and then secondly, I'm really super wonderful for advocating the government fix your problem.
How about you get off your ass and fix my problem?
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
So, but to me, that sounds like it would be the right calling that kind of thing toxic.
Yes.
As opposed.
Yes. Exactly. Right.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. That's not the kind of. Now I agree that yes, the performative empathy would be very toxic. Should be considered toxic, but I would guess that it is probably not.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting topic we may have to revisit on the show.
I mean,
that might be a whole episode.
Yeah. I mean, I would think the listeners would understand that if the Brotherhood were sitting down to start fixing problems, that our first reaction would not be, well, we need a government program, doggone it.
No, our first step would be to roll up our sleeves and start working.
Yeah, and certainly a lot of it would be balanced between get off your butt and start working, and you so-and-sos need Jesus.
They'll find Jesus through our work.
I mean, certainly, for a section of the Brotherhood, any solution starts there. and then
I wear
goes and-
funny clothes if I don't believe that.
yeah.
Well, I don't know. You look kind of cute in that dress, you know.
Yeah. Just call me Klinger.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I mean, it's
it's
a
fun-
moo but
it's,
you know.
it's funny to see you guys in white.
Oh, nice.
Well, this weekend we're in red.
That's true.
Oh.
Well, we're wearing white underneath.
Oh,
Oh,
there's
okay.
yeah. See that here's where you lose me. There's a schedule to the colors.
Well, we always
Like I said, I told Bjorn, I said the Latin Mass was interesting. There was a lot of taking on and putting on of hats. He loved it. I was just like, I'm enthralled by these guys putting on a hat and then sitting down and taking off a hat.
When you pray, you take your hat off. There's nothing.
So they had to
between you
have
and God.
someone hold the hat.
yeah.
Of course, we're
So it's-
too
so it's
important
sort of-
to hold our own hat.
It turns into so many people standing there holding hats.
That's only when there's a bishop, generally speaking.
No, you haven't been to
the
the Latin Mass.
It's St. Martin of Tours Latin Mass. Lovely.
There's an
All right.
official hat.
They're
holder.
wearing the Zacchetas or the Berettas, yes.
The
There's-
Berettas, yeah.
Berettas, and then you got to take off the hat. Then another person has to hold the hat, and then they have to get up, put the hat on. There was a lot of taking on and putting on of hats.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Bjorn found it wonderful and mystic and fortifying to his faith. So
Well, that's all that matters then.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing about the Latin Mass that drives me nuts. First of all, the church allows it in certain circumstances. I may or may not wish they would allow it in more circumstances. That's beside the point. But the people who want to keep everybody else from having that, especially when it's allowed, drive me nuts. I just want to smack them. But on the other side,
We have liturgical dance, which
the
should be
people
banned.
who are on the pro Latin Mass side who want everybody to have that, even though
And only
they
that.
get nothing out of it, even though they don't realize they're still getting Jesus. They drive me just as batty as those who want nobody to have it. It's just, if the church allows it, just be happy that you get what you want,
experience it, enjoy it, soak it in.
Yeah.
And then the sermon or homily piece is still in your vernacular.
Yes.
Listen to the priest.
Or the deacon.
Or the deacon. He's got something to tell you.
Speaking of that deacon over there has to preach this weekend. I preach next weekend.
Yep. I've had my homily ready for a few days.
I
so
have
I'm
to
good.
say, Bjorn really does enjoy Francis's homilies.
I tell you what, I'm going to send him the link to my homily for Holy Trinity.
All right.
He'd love that.
So to finish hammering, need to tie this to Martin here. So socialism is a philosophy of failure, creed of ignorance, and the gospel of envy. Inherent virtue is the equal sharing of misery. So now, granted, I'm coming at this from a sympathetic point of view with Martin to that quote, because I agree with it 100%. And socialism is to me anyways, if somebody wants to believe this, you're certainly free to believe it. Just don't try and impose it on us. That socialism is a perfectly valid way to organize society. But I think it very much is a brush with the truth and then picking themselves up and going on their merry way without understanding what's happened. Because you have to ignore so much that is true. You have to ignore the truth of human nature.
Yep.
You have to ignore the truth of human emotions, the truth of human pettiness, just the truth of how the entire world works. There is no place, with the exception of maybe penguins, because they're very communal creatures. But outside of maybe penguins, there's nowhere in nature where this sort of organizing principle works, right? There's where everybody's equally miserable because everybody has exactly the same as everybody else. Although that's never really true because there's always the elites.
If you go back to penguins, there's a reason they're communal. They're hoping that the guy next to them gets eaten by the great white shark and not me. So that is not totally indifferent from our society. I want you to be poor so I can be rich.
Well, that's just it. I want both of us to be rich.
Yeah.
You know, it's
That's
that's
a very rare impulse, if I may interject.
how so.
The idea that I want you to be rich, I want to be rich, I want Andre to be rich. It's rare because jealousy
Oh, I see.
runs
Yeah.
runs through our veins, unfortunately,
Mhm.
as a human person, um, very badly.
That's why that's one of the 10 commandments. Thou
Yeah.
shalt not covet thy neighbor's goods.
So
Or his wife.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
somebody like Bill Gates had this great breakthrough. This idea of
He was a
Hey.
good marketer. I don't know that he had a great breakthrough, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
well, I mean, him and Paul Allen and the guys, they had this idea of, hey, all of these hardware people don't have to come up with their own operating system. We'll do it, and we'll just license. We don't have to come up with the hardware
Yeah.
ourselves.
We'll buy something and then license it.
We'll license this thing and it was a breakthrough.
Yes.
It revolutionized the personal computing market.
Yep.
That doesn't necessarily mean that Bill Gates is an authority on virology or global health systems. He thinks he is.
Yep.
It doesn't mean he is.
Does that mean that those actresses and actors that testify in front of Congress about global warming and tax policy, they aren't experts either?
Exactly. Exactly.
Wow.
So, when he's in front of the World Economic Forum talking about we need to eat bugs and get vaccinated, it's like, look, dude,
You're going home and having steak.
yeah.
You're flying home and
You're
having
flying
steak.
home, having steak, and if
Or going to your weird orgies that apparently you go to.
if what's on the internet's real, big question, slipping antibiotics
To your
his wife
To cure her VD
that you gave her because you were,
on an island.
yeah.
What island might that be?
It's like, dude, shut up. You don't get to tell us just because you had this idea that made you rich doesn't mean you get to tell us how to live.
His money gives him a platform to speak from.
To speak, yes,
That doesn't mean what he's speaking is wise or
it
true.
is true or anything. He thinks it is. He thinks he's having this wise insight about what the future of humanity means, and it's just like, dude, shut up. We don't care. We don't want to listen to you.
Yeah, but that's just our version of what the left often does, and I'm not saying you're wrong because I agree with you, but everybody does that.
Oh, yeah.
Just because you are whoever, just because you are big into electric cars, which we used to love, doesn't mean that I think you should tell us what to do about free speech. Is
Yeah.
how that ended up working out.
I mean, it's one of those.
Never
things-
mind that I was for free speech until, as it said somewhere in one of these quotes about very much our day. Oh yeah, everyone is in favor of free speech. Hardly a day passes without its being extolled. But some people's idea of it is that they are free to say what they like, but if anyone else says anything back, that's an outrage.
Yeah.
That I almost went with that.
Yeah, I
in
mean,
principle.
certainly people on both sides falter on that idea.
Yes.
I tend to be a free speech absolutist with the idea that, yes, the government can't punish you, but if your employer punts you out,
I'm a little mixed on that
yeah,
because I think there's context. I am
Exactly.
less sympathetic to the employer for firing people for what they say when they say it outside of work.
Which is why we
when
use
it
pen
lea-
names.
when it leaves an impression that you will not do your job and the job is a service to other people job
Hmm.
in a manner consistent with, everyone can apply for this. I mean, I'm struggling to find the right expression, but basically, when you're a nurse or a doctor and you go in a public forum and say, "I'm not treating people who voted for Trump,"
Yeah.
yeah, if your hospital wants to fire you for that, I'm cool because you're supposed
Even
to
if they
be,
said I won't vote for people or won't treat people who voted for Kamala Harris.
Same thing. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That would be unacceptable.
Yep.
You're a service provider. You're
Yeah.
supposed to care
If a
about
line worker making
people.
something at the local Ford plant says I wouldn't sell a car to a Democrat or I wouldn't sell a car to a Republican, who cares? They're not selling cars.
They're not selling cars. But if you're involved in the treatment of your neighbor,
What about I wouldn't bake a cake for somebody who voted for Trump?
I think that's
You have the
fine.
right to
Because
engage in
that's-
commerce as you see fit.
Yeah, because
Well, there's a economic principle and a legal principle.
But
This
it's
goes
not
back
an-
to your
yeah, it's not an essential service.
well, who gets to define
Yeah,
essential?
that's certainly that is
Evidently,
a-
the government, because there were essential workers 6 years ago.
Well, that's true.
yeah.
But going back to
It's a free expression thing too, though.
it's a free expression thing, but also, you know, there's a lot of competing and conflicting principles
Yep.
in real life. This is all
It
great to
is.
say one
It
way or the other.
is. You're very right.
Now, on the one hand, yes, I agree that, if somebody asks me to do something that intrinsically goes against my faith, I should have the right to say no
You always have the right to say no.
without
There-
repercussion is what I'm
Oh,
talking
okay.
about.
Okay.
Because that's where the right comes in.
Okay.
Or the ability, depending on how you want to define it. But on the other hand, if you are engaging in public commerce, your ability to say no is very limited.
Yeah, for sure.
You can make an argument that no shirt, no shoes, no service is illegal. Because what is it about no shirt, no shoes, no service that makes it impossible for you?
Not wearing a shirt in public is a form of expression.
Well, or it just may be 100 degrees outside. So, what about no shirt, no shoes, no service impedes your ability to provide the service or to express your faith? How does that all the principles that we see used as, well, I can't do it because of this. To me, that should be illegal. If you really want to get down to it, because there's absolutely nothing about that.
No, because if you're the business owner, you say anybody that comes in here and wants to do trade with me, I expect them to be some degree of presentable.
See, that's the problem. Who gets to define what is presentable?
The business owner.
And if that is your point, then they can define things that we would call morally objectionable. For instance, they could say, your skin is too brown. I find that not presentable.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you would, obviously. I'm just saying these are the kinds of preferences that we have codified against in law that, on principle, if you are offering a service to the public or a product to the public, your means of being able to limit who you sell to and how are very limited because of equal protection.
Yeah.
I think the market would rectify the problem because if
But the market didn't. It took a social movement and a lot of laws and a lot of time to correct that. That was
Yeah.
not the market.
Yeah. I mean,
And
again,
there is no,
it- because
Adam
you
Smith's
can-
invisible hand thing is to me, that's a bunch of bullshit. There is no,
oh, them fighting words.
so the invisible hand of the market, this whole self-correction thing, that implies, one, a moral people. And I do not think we are a moral people.
oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Right.
Because
So-
Adam Smith definitely did because he's a preacher,
Yes.
not an economist.
Right. So this invisible hand of the market, all that,
His supposition is that you're not going to take advantage of the
yes, that the
customer.
market will always correct for the good. And
Yeah.
I think we have seen plenty of examples where that is
Yeah.
not true.
Yeah,
So that's why I say that that's bullshit.
yeah,
So
yeah.
on the one hand, yes, the market is self-correcting to whatever the level of pricing and what have you that can be borne by those willing to, like how much does it cost to dig something up, process it into a product, and is that something that is cheap enough for people to be able to afford to buy? There is a correction in that sense, and a settling of pricing in that sense that there is no government needed, because that's just the way
Right.
I mean, that's just common sense to me.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's
To pull on Brother Andre's example, no shoes, no shirt, no Jews, no service shouldn't need a government correction.
it should,
Hopefully,
but it did.
It did, but hopefully, in a free society, there would be self-correcting.
Because the society would look and say, what you're asking for is not reasonable. I'm not doing business with you, and you would go out of business.
Right.
But that's not how. But I'm just saying that's not how it happened, at least in this country, and I would say in just about any other country. Those kinds of things that what we would call unjust prejudices today, were not considered that until more than one generation lived under the law that illegalized that sort of thing, until it became the norm, because that's what you grew up with. We've talked about this on the show. It is probably fair to say that if not our parents directly, certainly our grandparents were at best casual racists.
Yeah, I mean,
not in the sense that they were out burning crosses on people's
people
yards.
2 generations older than us walk past a fountain that says
colored only.
Colored only.
And would never have drunk from it, no matter how thirsty they were.
And wouldn't have cared either.
And wouldn't have cared that the sign existed.
And wouldn't have cared. To us, seeing such a sign,
that's morally repugnant.
Would be like, what's going on with it? Am I time traveling here? What's going on? We just don't understand the idea of a public facility being segregated.
Right. And so that's a great, I love you put it that way. So then that goes back to the baking of the cake thing. Now, again, I have no problem with refusing of that because there's a faith element there. But what if they refuse to bake a cake for a Trump voter? The example you used.
They have every right to do that.
Well, there are, the way that the court cases have gone, I don't think they do. And from a purely philosophical point of view, no, because you shouldn't care about.
I think there's a piece too that's missing, is the difference between ownership and employeeship. Again, if you're a health provider working for another company and you say, I'm not going to treat a Trumper, then your employer can say that's not consistent with our values. To us, that's the same as saying we're not going to treat a gay person.
Mm-hmm.
If you own the bakery and you say, I'm not going to provide cake to a Trumper, I have less argument there because you're the owner.
Well, again, you're also coming from the libertarian perspective.
Right. Again, if the employee said, I'm not making that cake, and the employer said, yes, you will, because I don't care, I'll sell to anybody, and you say as the employee, I'm not making donuts for Trumpers, then the employer says, well, then go find another job at another donut shop.
I agree that is a different thing.
It's a different dynamic.
Now, would you say this? Because there's a couple things that go off here. So would you say that if the employee said, oh, got an order for these chocolate covered donuts for the MAGA rally, and I just sent the thing out the door, or I'm about to, and the owner says, oh no, you cannot do that, and if you do, I fire you, is that acceptable?
Yes.
Because again, I go back to the social contract. Now, the social contract, unfortunately, is very ephemeral and very ethereal in the sense that, hold on.
Word boner.
In that it's an ever-changing sort of thing. There is no such thing as a contract that we have all signed. But generally speaking, we agree upon, I mean, for any society to work, there's a basic underlying agreement on basic things, all right? And part of that is if you open up a shop, you should sell to anybody who walks in. I mean, generally speaking, that is, you got to have a good reason not to. And the question is, and again, I get that who gets to define what the good reason is for you to not do that. So I'm just saying that, there are.
So if I own a bakery and a Klansman walks in full sheet and orders a dozen donuts, I have to sell it to him, even though I find his very existence morally reprehensible.
I would hope you would not find his existence, but rather his views.
His views, okay.
Just being a deacon and all.
Racism is inherently evil if we need to define it.
So there are a couple of mitigating circumstances there, only in the sense of this: does he have the full hood on and is his face covered? Because there are some places it's illegal for that to.
Louisville is one of those places you can't wear a mask now.
So I thought we had to wear masks.
I'm not sure. Like I said, I see people walking by themselves in a
Wearing a
mask,
yeah.
And I'm like, what are you doing?
My favorites are always the ones that were in a car by themselves in a
Yes,
mask.
yeah. I mean,
they didn't want to infect themselves.
Yeah, obviously.
I mean, my thing would be like, here's your dozen. Don't come back.
No, I find what you stand for. I find just horrible. I'm not going to do business with you. I don't want to besmirch myself.
So, and there's great philosophical and moral arguments for what you're saying.
There's a practical argument too, because it's bad for business.
Yes.
Nobody else is going to come in.
So
okay, then
it's like a bar that says no colors, no leathers. That means if you're actively part of an outlaw gang, I don't want you in here because nobody else is going to come in. And then my bar becomes a gang hangout.
Yeah, that I don't control anymore. And I'm not making any money off of either.
Well,
because you're just going to.
You have to define for yourself what is more important, the making of money or the living out of your morals.
Or you could put it another way, living out of your morals or putting food on your family's table.
I'm going to say, yeah, I mean, they're not
I'll go
in
dig
conflict.
ditches if I have to.
They're not in conflict because they both give you a reason to say, look, Klansman, I'm not selling you donuts because I don't want your buddies coming in here. And I don't want to get a reputation of this is the place where Klansmen buy donuts. Get out. Stay out.
Yeah.
And you can come up with the most extreme
which we are
arguments because there's always an exception because that's reality. Right? The world is not black and white. Yeah. The world is very gray, but which as a deacon I find very comforting. Yeah, because we wear gray.
Practical consideration and the moral consideration are not in conflict,
but they're not always copacetic either. I mean, they're not always in conflict, but
more than we think.
But my whole point about some of this, though, is that there are laws that, because again, it goes back to what we're talking about. What we consider a capitalist society is more a market economy because of the laws that regulate things.
Right.
And
it takes a lot of laws to enforce.
It does.
Fair transactions.
And again,
courts
the hard part is
everything.
How do you define what's a fair transaction?
Yeah.
Because to the Klansman, he just wants a donut. Now, why he's a dumbass enough to wearing his sheet and his hood,
too stupid to enjoy a donut,
to go buy a donut, that's probably not going to happen. Although there are probably places in the South where that has happened, where they just finished their cross burning and then it's like, you know what, a bunch of donuts taste really good right now, or let's go down to Joe's and buy a drink.
I think they would have taken those off though. Aren't they hard to drive in?
Oh, that pointy hat probably would.
You're asking me like I know?
They would hit the top of the pickup, right?
Yeah, that's probably true.
I mean, they got to take all that stuff off to drive.
A gentleman takes his hat off when he gets in a vehicle and inside anyways.
Yeah.
So you can make the argument, if he's wearing that hat when he gets inside, you're no gentleman. I don't.
He's a clod.
All right.
So, and again, there's the legal that is separate from the morally righteous in a lot of cases. Even though laws are an expression of our morality, because,
Righteousness.
you know, the problem is that not everybody subscribes to the same morality. But yes, we absolutely can legislate morality. That's kind of the point of laws. There's no law that can cover every single situation, even though Congress tries to come up with a law to cover everything.
Yeah, and
They can't.
a primary fault of government in general.
Well, actually, I think that's a feature, that they can't come up with a law to cover everything. Therefore, they should not try.
Yeah. Well, well, yeah, they should not try. They do anyway.
They do anyway.
That's the bug in the feature.
Yeah.
To put it in software terms, that's yeah.
Yeah. The bug is they keep trying.
Yeah, and the feature is they should stop.
Yeah. Well, that you can't, because
When have you spent too much money?
Morality should.
how many
be-
trillions of dollars ago was that?
Yeah.
Uh,
How many Somalian daycares that you
Can you fund? I mean,
Yeah. All right, so I think we need to draw this to a close because I bet we're at 140, aren't we?
145.
Wow.
Well, it was a very OG discussion.
It was.
So I want to make 2 points and then we'll close up, and we have no idea what's next. So I don't think we're even going to bother with it.
Nope.
2 points that this may be the only podcast in history that's ever discussed Klansmen going to a donut shop.
That's probably true. That is
So
probably
well
true.
done, Brother Andre. I think that puts you like
You've arrived.
you were yeah
You have
got a
arrived.
unique perspective there that you did well with.
That's, I think, the hallmark of Snakes and Otters, though, is to talk about things that nobody has ever talked about before.
Absurdism.
I know it's very
Come on.
Camusian.
It is. It is.
It is. So and then I just felt like that was very much an OG code of honor style discussion.
It was, because
And
we
it
ended up talking about
worked.
stuff that had nothing to do with any of our quotes.
It worked, and it worked. And thank you, Winston Churchill. Listeners, if you don't know Churchill, please get some Churchill stuff and learn about
It's like,
Churchill.
why are you listening to us if you don't even know who Churchill is?
So, and just to mention, I talked about Arthur Herman's new book. It is called
yes.
Founders Fire.
Oh,
From
yes.
1776 to the age of Trump, how visionary founders from Washington to Musk have shaped America through innovation and disruption of the status quo. And also, if you have not picked it up, I strongly recommend Arthur Herman's The Cave and the Light.
I do have that.
So
I have not started it yet, but I have
you
it.
need to read that one because that is very much
That is your favorite book
the
right now,
it
isn't it?
is the best book I've ever read. It is the tension between Plato and Aristotle throughout Western civilization. So you will
Sounds like a page
Fine.
turner.
find stuff.
If you're an intellectual, that's a page turner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You will understand all the struggles that we were just going through here with us with this discussion. Because Arthur Herman would have felt at home, I think, talking about a Klansman in a donut shop.
Awesome.
He would have corrected us and put us on the right path.
Pointless discussion of eternal questions, man. That's us.
It was there. It was there. This was a very OG discussion. Brother Andre did well.
You did.
Filling in for Francis.
Kind of filling in for Francis, but not really.
I didn't talk nearly enough.
Bring his. He
That's
brought his-
true.
Well, you didn't quote Star Trek any.
Live long and
Oh
prosper.
my gosh, we did two. We almost went 2 full episodes without quoting Trek.
You can still edit it out.
I may edit that out.
So I don't want to say you were filling in for Francis. You were here. Francis wasn't. You brought your unique perspective to it. It was terrific. You did a great job, Brother
You did.
Andre. Love you,
It was a
brother.
great show today.
Great show. Love you guys. Thank you for being here. We will see you next time, Otterites.
We hope you enjoyed another pointless discussion of eternal questions. Remember, new episodes drop every second and fourth Friday at 6 a.m. Eastern, just in time for your morning commute. And every fifth Friday, we drop a special Hoopajube episode. Spread the word we are on all the major platforms, and leave us a review. That helps others find us. We're also on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, as well as our website, snakesandotters.com. Join us next time. same snake time, same otter channel.